And we are back. Welcome back to my Premier League prediction series. This week it is game week 23, another weekend of Premier League action. And before you ask, no, I have not calmed down yet after last night's game between Wolves and Manchester United. Make sure to check out my reaction for that game. It was the last video we posted on this channel. Secondly, there is going to be another video posted very shortly after this one is uploaded. That, of course, will be my predictions for today's AFCON and Asian Cup quarter-final. So make sure you check that video out as well once you've finished watching this one. But like I say, for today, we're going to be discussing the weekend Premier League fixtures. Another bumper weekend of action in the Premier League with some massive games both up and down the table. Before we get into it though, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my prediction series, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, because like I said, we've got a bunch more Asian Cup and AFCON predictions coming up for you, as well as more reactions to Manchester United's game against West Ham this weekend. And very, very soon, we will have the return of European football, so best believe we're going to have some predictions for that as well. Let's get into it then. Premier League game week 23. And we kick off with the early game on Saturday between Everton and Spurs. Spurs looking good in their most recent game, however, still very sloppy defensively. Their high line is being effective offensively, but being very suspect defensively at the moment, and that back pass from Udogie is possibly the worst back pass I've seen all season. Everton, on the other hand, have just resorted back to not being able to score again. They were playing some really good football a couple of months ago, and I don't really know what's happened to them. They've had a couple of injuries to key players, but I still think they should be doing better than what they have been over the last few weeks. They are now starting to play like a side that's in relegation trouble, which is a weird thing to say considering they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the 10-point deduction. But let's be honest, they haven't had a good result in well over a month now. So going into this game against Spurs, I think given the fact that Spurs play that high line, I can see Everton scoring, but I don't see Everton keeping Spurs out. I just don't think Everton have been that good defensively at the moment. Yes, Jordan Pickford produced some big heroics to stop Fulham from scoring the other day, but I think Tottenham's attack is another level above. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Spurs to kick off the weekend's action. From there, we move to 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday. Firstly, it's Brighton against Palace in the big derby game, and the question mark over this one is, of course, the fitness of Michael Olise and Eberiche Eze. Both players seemingly going off with what looked like hamstring injuries in Crystal Palace's win at the weekend. So I have to go into this, given the fact that it's just going to be 3 or 4 days later, I have to assume neither of those players are going to be fit for this game. And if that is the case, I don't really see how Crystal Palace get a result against Brighton in this game. What is worth noting is that Brighton haven't scored a single goal in the Premier League in 2024, which is a massive shock considering how many goals they normally score. But I have to assume that, again, with Eze and Elise injured, it's going to be much easier for Brighton to do basically what they normally do. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Brighton. If they are fit, maybe sway towards more of a 1-1 draw, 2-2 draw. But for me, Brighton take it with those players injured. Next up, we have two sides that are very much out of form at the moment now, I would say, and that is Burnley and Fulham. Burnley, as expected, were well beaten by Manchester City. Fulham, as we just spoke about, could not get a goal past Everton, and it's now 3 games, I believe, in a row for Fulham without a goal in the Premier League as well. So both sides are a little bit tentative at the moment. I do think both sides will score in this one, but that is where I'm going to leave this prediction, as I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. On to two sides that are now fully in form, and that is Newcastle and Luton Town. Newcastle with their 3rd consecutive win and another great performance from them in midweek. However, every performance in midweek was overshadowed by Luton's 4-0 win over Brighton. And the question is now, can they now go to St James's Park and produce another incredible result there? Personally, I don't think so. I think Newcastle are very much back to their best. They've looked very dangerous in the last few games and very comfortably beat Aston Villa away from home in their last game. And question marks again over the fitness of Alexander Isak, so it may have to be Anthony Gordon that plays up front for Newcastle in this one. Regardless, I think this is probably a little bit of a step too far for Luton, but the way they played against Brighton, who knows what a result it would be for them if they went to St James's and got a result. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Newcastle. I think that's about right, considering how well Newcastle have played recently. Finally, on Saturday then, our last game in the evening is between Sheffield United and Aston Villa. And as I just spoke about, Aston Villa really struggling at the moment to pick up any sort of result. Sheffield United are going to feel a little bit aggrieved after their performance against Crystal Palace resulted in still another defeat. But they're playing better, they're scoring goals, they are still conceding goals though. So with all that tallied up, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. I still don't think Villa are going to get the result. It's the sort of game that could see them get themselves back into some sort of form. But I don't know, I think Sheffield United are going to get something out of this one. From there then, we move to 4 games on Sunday, starting off with 3 games taking place at 2 o'clock. And the first of those is Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. To me, I don't think this is too difficult of a prediction. You look at how well Bournemouth played against West Ham, bouncing back from that disappointing defeat against Liverpool, and they looked right back on it. Yes, they weren't able to get the win, but to still go to West Ham and get a draw, I think, is a really good result. Forest at the moment, still in a little bit of disarray. Somehow, despite this charge hanging over them, still signing more players on deadline day. Will Sells make a difference to them in goal after already signing Turner and Vlachodimos? Personally, I don't understand why Vlachodimos isn't playing. He's proven himself to be a very good goalkeeper over the last few years. But whatever, they've signed Sells, another new goalkeeper for them. Is he going to keep Dominic Solanke out? I don't think he is. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Bournemouth. Next up, it is Chelsea and Wolves, 2 teams that were embroiled in fantastic matches over the last couple of days. Chelsea, I think, a little bit unlucky with the 4-1 scoreline against Liverpool, given all the incidents that didn't go in their favour in that game. But for me, also still well beaten, especially given the fact that Darwin Núñez hit the post 4 different times and Chelsea still conceded 4. So that in itself isn't a great look for Chelsea. Wolves, of course, the victims of that 4-3 defeat to Manchester United last night in what was the most incredible game I've seen so far this season. That leaves this game pretty wide open as far as I'm concerned. If Wolves leave as much space in the midfield as they left Manchester United, the likes of Enzo, Palmer, etc. are going to have a field day in there for Chelsea. But equally, if Chelsea defend the way they did against Liverpool and Wolves have their attacking threats with Cunha and Neto, and even Bellegarde was looking good last night, and the wing-backs getting forward, this honestly could be anything. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Chelsea, but again, we could see this being another 4-3, 5-4. This could be anything. I hope it is, because I expect it to be an open game. It's just going to be a case of who scores more. Speaking of scoring more, the team that did score more than Wolves was Manchester United, and they are taking on West Ham in the final 2 o'clock game on Sunday. And off the back of that performance, as a Manchester United fan, and given the fact that West Ham drew at home to Bournemouth, I can't not go for a Manchester United win here. Consistency is key for Manchester United. It's been their biggest downfall all season, is have a good performance, then have a bad performance, especially at Old Trafford. But I'm hoping this will be different with the key players back, with Martinez, with Shaw, with Casemiro, with Rashford looking better again last night, with Højlund now on fire. I have to believe we're going to win this one. I still don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. I just don't trust this Manchester United side in any capacity to keep a clean sheet. But I'm going to go for 3-1 to Manchester United, which then brings us to the main event of the weekend, of course. It is Arsenal taking on Liverpool in a repeat of that FA Cup game just a few weeks ago. It was 2-0 to Liverpool on that day. Liverpool are arguably the most informed side in the division at the moment. They are playing some fantastic stuff. Conor Bradley looks like an absolute revelation at right back and gives them the excuse to finally start playing Trent in midfield. Will they do that? We will see. I think regardless, Liverpool are going to win this game. I've backed Arsenal twice already this season and it's not panned out. I'm backing Liverpool this time. I'm going for 2-1 to Liverpool. And then finally, the Monday Night Football sees Brentford taking on Manchester City. A little bit of a bogey team for Manchester City over the last couple of seasons, especially Ivan Toney up front for Brentford has scored some good goals against Manchester City. Do I think his return and his 2 goals in his first 2 games back are going to be enough to stop Manchester City, who have started to do their build momentum, win, win, win. De Bruyne's fit, Haaland's fit, Alvarez is still scoring. Who are Manchester City going to play? Is it even going to matter? I don't think it is. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Manchester City. I still think Brentford score. I still think City struggle to keep clean sheets, as was proven in that last-minute goal from Burnley. But the quality is really starting to show at the moment, and I think at the end of the day, it will be Manchester City that come out on top. And that is going to be it for this weekend's predictions. As always, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments section below. Don't forget to check out my AFCON and Asian Cup quarter-final predictions video. That will also be available for you right now. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you there.